Do you want to know my favorite beginner reader series? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing exactly that and why we chose it. Hey there, I'm Rachel and I'm a homeschooling mom to 3, and here on this channel, my goal is to help you school the way you want by providing tips and tricks and guidance. I am back talking about reading today. The last video I did, it was talking about how I teach sight words. I will be doing another video on how I specifically teach reading and the hands-on style we use. Today's video is all about the specific readers that I do use to supplement that. I feel like having a more in-depth look at the actual readers and sort of getting a glimpse at what they look like is important. I have to say that there are so many different ways to teach your kids how to read these days. There's so many different resources, from DVDs to apps to online programs to hands-on to reader series. It's ridiculous how many options there are. So I'm just gonna show you what we have tried in the past. That is the only experience that I do have. I do not have experience in anything other than I mentioned. The first thing I want to mention is to teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons. And I have to say, this book was highly recommended by quite a few people when my older son was first beginning how to read. And I sat down with it and we tried it a couple of times, and honestly, we both were just not into it. To me, it's super dry. There's not a lot of color or activities that kind of go along with it. So this is just a quick glimpse at it. You know, you have daily lessons, which is really nice. I love how things are sort of laid out for you, but we ended up having just to do some supplemental hands-on activities and fun games, and I found that we were just supplementing too much for this, and then you had to buy a separate book anyway, so we ended up buying the Bob books for this anyway. After we tried the 100 lessons book, I did see at the library that you could take home for free the Hooked on Phonics program. So we gave that a try. We brought it home, and I found that my son absolutely loved the DVDs, and it came with the little booklets with it. And we went through a couple of the books and he really enjoyed it, but I did find that I was still, again, supplementing with more hands-on activities for my son to really grasp the phonics concepts. So I'm sitting at my house and I have a couple of different resources, the 100 lessons book, the Hooked on Phonics, and the Bob books, and I just sat there and thought, what are we actually getting out of these? And I knew that majority of the time we were getting most out of the hands-on activities, and I said, okay, well, what addition to that sort of can supplement what we're already doing in our hands-on methods? And I knew it really was just going to come down to the books. So that immediately got rid of the actual 100 lessons book because it doesn't actually contain any reader books. Then I compared the Hooked on Phonics books to the Bob books, and I found that I really loved more the Bob books simply because they didn't have as much going on the page. And I also really enjoyed how the Bob books really just had a very good chronological order. There was a lot better order to them than I thought the Hooked on Phonics was. I have to say my deciding factor was simply based on the actual book length and the fact that Bob books, you can actually finish a book. You have it in your hand, the kids can hold it, they finish reading it, they close the book after the end, and they get this just excitement and fulfillment out of reading and finishing this book. There was just something about the two that just stood out to me and how important that was. Now, obviously, this is a total personal decision that I had to make given what I have and what my kids love to do and how I teach. So please comment down below what beginner reader series you absolutely love and why you chose it. Now let's talk Bob books. Since this is the choice that I made, I'm going to go into detail as to sort of what each one encompasses and how Bob books are organized. So Bob books are kind of set in a series, and you can buy them 2 different ways. The first way you will mostly find them in Target, Walmart, and Amazon are these smaller books that are about, you know, shall we say, half this height and sort of, you know, 3/4 of the way over. Okay, they're not as big as this. This one right here that I own, and I actually ended up trading out. I sold my old ones, my smaller ones, and got these newer ones when I saw that they came out in Costco a few years ago. I highly recommend, if you have a Costco membership, get them from there or somehow find them like this, because I love how big these books are from Costco. If you are already doing some really cool things with your kid for general ABC phonics, I find that the pre-reader is not really necessary because it just goes over the alphabet. For sight words, if you have not already seen my last video, please go check that out, because I do sight words a bit different. So I did not find that the sight words Bob books were going to be for us either. To go over the actual collections, I do have real quick, I do have collection 1 and collection 2, which is yellow, and then collection 3 is red, and then I also have collection 6, which honestly I don't understand the numbers yet. I still haven't figured that out yet, but this is actually a collection number 6, and it contains the first stories and rhyming stories. Now let's go take a look inside of all of these. Okay, let's go ahead and start off with talking about the Bob Books Collection 1. If you flip inside, every one of these will actually have a teacher's guide, and it really is just some stickers and some general notes and hints and tricks. So inside, I'll give you a little glimpse into book 1. It is just matte, and then in it, there's again, it's black and white, highly contrast with a little bit of pop of red color. And it's just Matt sat, Sam, and then Sam sat, Matt sat, Sam sat. That is your first book. And it kind of just follows along with your CVC. So again, you'll see Sam. I'm just going to just pull all these out. So you see something like Sam, and then Dot, Mac, Dot, and Mitt. Again, these are your very basic consonant, vowel, consonant type books. As long as your, son or daughter knows how to sound out d, t, and d, g, then you're pretty good, aside from a few sight words like and the. And what's really cool about all of these books is that in the back or in the front, depending on which collection you have, for instance, this one's in the front, it tells you, this is not a good example. I'll do this one because that one's numbers. But in this one, for example, it gives the sounds that you need to know for this book. So in this book, you definitely need to know the eh sound. And then, for example, this one also tells you need to know the l, k, and x sounds for this book. So that's what's really cool about all these Bob books, is they do eventually, tell you. That's what's really cool about these Bob books, is that they do actually tell you specifically what sounds and what things you're going to need to know for each one of the books that you're going to be reading. So that was collection 1, and it really just goes over your very basic CVC type words, and then you get into collection 2, and it just gets a little bit more advanced. That's all. Like I said, I really liked the Bob books just simply based on how they were organized. That one's been loved. And so again, here you will see in these books, it tells you at the end, when you go to collection 2, all the different words you're going to need to know, vowel sounds, and sight words. These sight words, a, of, okay, out, these are very, early on sight words that are very easier for children. And it just progresses from there, and it continues solidifying that CVC words, and then introduces a little bit more sight words. Let's just take a look at book 8 just to see what it's like. lollipop. So then you start getting into your double consonant sounds and also your beginning blends like sh, sh. I'm actually just going to show you real quick what the last book of collection 2 looks like so you can get an idea of what the kids are going to be reading at the end. The clock struck 10. So here you see you have the beginning blends like kl, and then the ending blends like k. And that's continue throughout like st and k again. And you continue on that way like jumped. So you end in the ed sound. So you get a little glimpse as to the beginning blends and ending blends that you will have to know at the end of this book. Okay, so now taking a look at the collection number 3. A little bit of review in terms of, you know, the beginning sounds, but then you also are having, you know, sight words like they, so a little bit harder. And again, watch my video on sight words so I tell you when to sort of introduce these specific words. You're getting to know these ending blends like ast and your common rhymes like int, tent, went. As always, I hope you have found this video useful. Please give it a like if you did so, and do not forget to subscribe. It's that red button right there, super easy to click. You can do it right now. Bye guys.